even today. So that would be very good, another reason to discuss where we are, what concerns NATO capability targets today in our discussion. I wouldn't fall into this trap.
How important is it that the US will consult with European allies in peace negotiations? And do you have the impression that this is being actually done enough?
Europeans has to be at the table when we are talking European security. That is absolutely principal thing. And we cannot discuss the future of the European security architecture without Europe. Of course, we know what Russia would love to see as the European security structure, but that would be against our basic security interests. We have to be at the table, because this is our say. And at the end of the day, we are putting a lot of money into it and a lot of political efforts. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. NATO is at the heart of UK's security, and that is why I'm here today as part of our partnership abroad that makes us stronger at home. And here alongside foreign ministers from across NATO to affirm our strong support for the people of Ukraine and for the process to secure a just and lasting peace for Ukraine, with security for Europe and security for NATO as well. We have seen in recent days President Trump and the US pursue a just and lasting peace for Ukraine and for the Ukrainian people, and for President Zelensky to pursue their willingness for a ceasefire and for a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. But instead, what we have seen is President Putin simply seek to escalate war, and we've seen over the weekend the continuing strikes, the heavy strikes that have led to power being switched off for hundreds of thousands of people. And that is why today I'm announcing the UK's additional £10 million to support energy infrastructure repairs in Ukraine, because whilst President Putin is seeking to switch the lights off and plunge Ukraine into darkness, we will continue to work to switch the lights back on. And we will continue to show our support for the Ukrainian people, for the sovereignty of Ukraine, and for a just and lasting peace, with the security of Europe and the security of NATO at its heart. Thank you.
From Kosovo, I would like to take one answer for you. I'm Ibn Hari Sufi from TV1. We have 2 years from the attack on Bainska, and at the same time 1 year from the Iber-Lepans. What is your answer for this? And what is your message to Vučić? Because the Milan Radicic is not arrested, he's still now free in the Belgrade.
So the talks that we will have today, the discussions we will have today, are all very clear that we've seen two presidents are seeking peace, President Trump and President Zelensky. But so far all we have seen from President Putin is an attempt to escalate war. And that is why President Putin should end the bluster and the bloodshed and be ready to come to the table and to support a just and lasting peace for Ukraine and for the security of Europe and the security of NATO. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, all of you. It's early hour. Looking forward today to host the foreign ministers of NATO. Of course, we'll be discussing the historic The Hague summit, and to make sure that we implement all the decisions when it comes to someone's phone is ringing. And so to discuss the implementation of that summit, particularly when it comes to defense spending, ramping up to 5% on a credible path. Defense industrial production, we have to do much more. We are doing better, but still a lot to be done. And of course, keeping Ukraine as strong as possible in the fight today, but also to be in the strongest possible position when peace talks really start to happen in a way where this could lead to a result. And then we will also have the NATO-Ukraine Council later today, the lunch, with Andriy Sybiha, the Foreign Minister, and Kaja Kallas, the EU High Representative. They are discussing, again, Ukraine. How do we make sure that Ukraine stays as strong as possible? The peace talks are ongoing. That's good, but at the same time we have to make sure that whilst they take place, and we are not sure when they will end, that Ukraine is in the strongest possible position to keep the fight going, to fight back against the Russians, but also in the strongest possible position when peace talks really get to a point where they sit at the table. Having said that, I'm open to a few questions, and then of course we'll see each other later at a full presser after the foreign ministers meeting. Who wants to start? One at a time, yes.
Yesterday Putin was threatening Europe with war again, so what would be your message for him today after these threats?
I'm not going to react to everything Putin is saying. We have seen him in military clothes, dressed like a soldier at the front, but not at the front. It was quite far from the front the day before yesterday. So no, I'm not going to react to everything.
New pearl pledges by Norway, the Netherlands, Germany.
Yes, well, that's really great news. So a lot of pledges have come in, and I hope I can make a few announcements later today. Pledges made today. And when you look at the overall numbers, as I said yesterday, we are now at 4 billion. So that means we are really on track for the 1 billion a month, August, September, October, November. And I'm cautiously optimistic that we will reach the 5 billion for the full year. And then for next year, we need for the full year, again, a lot of money, at least 1 billion, maybe even a little bit more than 1 billion a month. It might be around 50, maybe a little bit more for the whole year. When it comes to this crucial US gear, so this is offensive and defensive, including interceptors for the air defense systems, crucial to keep Ukrainian civilians and civilian infrastructure safe. So it is really good that this flow is there, that Europeans are stepping up, and Canada, by the way, also doing a lot here. So really, really glad that this is working.
Sir, let's talk about any of his team about how the talks went in Moscow last night.
Well, as you know, I'm really glad that the US president broke the deadlock with Putin, started this whole peace process. It was only the US, under the leadership of President Trump, who could do this. But I don't want to comment on every step. So last night was, of course, important. There will be more steps, but you will not hear me commenting on every in-between step. We closely coordinate with the Americans what's happening, but not commenting on every step.
What do you make of the rare absence of the US Secretary of State, and do you have the impression that the US are consulting enough with European allies?
Oh, they are absolutely consulting enough. The teams here at NATO and Marco Rubio's team are in constant contact. I myself in constant contact with the Secretary of State. Of course, he is working very hard when it comes to the peace process on Ukraine, but also when it comes to Sudan, Gaza and all the other issues the Americans are working on. So I find it totally acceptable that he is not here. Chris Lendau is here, the Deputy Secretary. I had dinner with him last night, and he will be really great at the table. So let's not look into more than anything there's there.